record of the conversation. So it's the
Oh
reason
yeah.
it's the reason why we say that this time we are going to make sure that at least we do YouTube such that in case
Okay.
somebody misses the message
They
because
can
of
catch it
either
there.
timing difference or
Mm.
situations, they can still be able to. So that's why we moved away from LinkedIn to be able to
Mm,
record
mm.
the conversation from this side. I know that still doing the LinkedIn Live somehow the algorithm helps you with the reach, but I think LinkedIn continues to have some limitations, especially on recording.
Mm, yeah, true, true.
Yeah, so that really affects. But at least we are here. We are 20 of us. So all right. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being part of this webinar. We have guests right there in the room. So you can be able to share with us what your expectations. You could use the chat box. And if you're watching this session from YouTube, you could use the chat box. We shall be able to follow that conversation. And I just want to say thank you so much for being part of this conversation. And I want to welcome our speaker to this session. So before our speaker comes through, I want just to say that this is there have never been a time like this where we need to have this conversation. I know we went through the times of COVID. You know, we are people who come and speak about things when the problems have come. When there is terror, we shall now start checking people as they enter hotels and so on. So the conversation of alternative source of income is now just also booming at this time when people are actually losing the jobs. Why? Because we get ourselves so comfortable that we think that the jobs we have will stay forever. So at this point in time, even after going through COVID, the time of COVID where people lost their jobs, as if we did not learn. And now we are here where thousands and millions of people are nearly affected because of the impact that they said funding has really brought. So that is the key reason why I felt that this conversation is important. But also as a club, as the Transformation Professionals Club, one of our key goals is to be able to help professionals grow themselves in aspects of their career, but also be able to leverage on their skills, knowledge, passion, to be able to earn a living, to be able to get that level where you, in case a job loss happens, you do not have to lose out. Or in Uganda here, we say you don't have to go back to the village because you can still stand and you can be able to do something with your hands. You can be able to do something with your skills and still survive. So that is why it's very important that we have this conversation. And for me to have this conversation with Moses Mugerwa Maurice, I know that Moses comes in many facets. One is one of the people that I've seen very committed on his on creating alternative sources of income. Moses continuously shares even content on the weekends. If you follow his content is around alternative sources of income. And he has also understood that him not being a vice president operations at Jibu is not just enough in it. He can be able to do quite a number of things with his skills. So it's important that we have this conversation. And Moses also comes with a story as well, as somebody who has lost his job before, and he has gone over 14 months without a job. And he was able to go through that journey. He has a better side of the story of how that journey looked like. But him being here now and what we have seen, I know some people like myself and maybe Moses live kind of an open book kind of life where we share our stories. So I've been able to see Moses's journey in his posts, in whatever he has shared. And you could see that he was not desperate to find another job. I think he was one of those first people that I saw who had the confidence to say, I can be able to I do not have to go for any job. I have to make choices on what job I'm going to take. Now, no one makes such kind of decision or takes on that kind of position if at all they are in a kind of survival mode. Basically, in case anything happens, they are off the lane. It's only somebody who has created some streams of income, some level of confidence that is able to say, I can survive without this job. I have options. Yes, I need the job, but I need to get to a point in time where I need to know that the job I'm going for is a job that I believe I should be going for. So I think for me, I'm really excited to have you, Moses, and I want to welcome you to this session. And before maybe
Thank
we
you.
get so much, I would just like you to just share with the audience who is Moses. I know I've talked some things about you, but maybe just to give us an understanding of what is Moses, who is he?
Nice. Thank you so much, Samuel. Hope everyone can hear me. Feel free to throw a thumbs up if you can hear me.
We can hear you, sir.
Amazing, amazing. So my name is Moses Maurice Mugerwa. I'm based in Uganda. Um, Currently, I work as the Vice President Operations at Jibo Inc. Jibo Inc. is a social enterprise for profit incorporated in the US, operating in 8 markets on the African continent. Basically, we are solving two SDG goals. One is provision of safe, clean drinking water across the 8 countries where we operate. But the other one is employment opportunities, because we run a strong African tailored franchise model that allows business people within communities to set up, we work with them to set up water factories and to be able to distribute water. So my role at Jibu gives me the opportunity to give oversight to our operations in the 8 markets where we operate, but also oversee expansion markets in the other countries. Um, my story didn't start there though. I think like Coach Samuel hinted, it didn't start there. By the way, my solid background is in software engineering. Started out as a software engineer, did direct development for a short time, pivoted into product management for tech companies, and then went into direct operations for especially global companies that want to scale on the African scene. And so working in operations is in a short while, because I've been working in early stage companies. And in early stage companies, you really grow really fast. That I think by around the fourth year of my career, I was already managing country budget. So I've spent quite a lot of time delving into numbers, understanding what makes businesses grow. How do you scale the GMV of a business? How do you drive positive EBITDA margins? And part of that has been looking at a number of cost variables. In as much as I'm not like Coach Samuel, I don't come from an accounting background. So looking at cost variables, what are the inputs of the P&L, the profit and loss? What are the CapEx, OpEx? And over time, the more you look at the numbers, the more you appreciate, and sentimentally, the fact that we are all part of the numbers. Previously, when that was said in organizations, it came off as though it was a bad thing. But the reality is, company owners are individuals like myself who have stepped out of their comfort zone to build something, one, to meet a need, create an impact, but make profit, which is most importantly. So if there is any budget line which is an outlier, not driving direct revenue to the company, or not aligned with the impact, then it will be cut. So looking at that, one of my roles, I was a culprit to being a number in one of my roles. Previously, when I was working at Cheaper Cash as the growth manager, I basically supported the launch of Cheaper Cash within Uganda, US corridors. So it's Cheaper Cash is a fintech doing cross-border payments. And so my work as growth manager was overseeing the respective corridors, US Uganda, US Nigeria, US Rwanda, and then supporting the launch plans for Kenya there. So did great work in a very short time, scaled, especially here in Uganda, launched in Rwanda, ran several campaigns, managed significant budgets. If you were in Uganda anytime between I think 2021 to 2022, you should have seen massive cheaper cash billboards. You should have seen heavy investment there, so many TV ads. That was basically my work working with a heavy budget. Quite unfortunately, though, with all that spending, it got to a place where I think it was about that time where there's also a crash of the Silicon Valley Bank, which for cheaper cash, it was one of our trustees. We also had a crash in I think it was FTX at about that time. So cheaper cash was invested. Our cash flows were heavily affected. And unfortunately, on December, I remember it was December 16th. Now I forget, they are quite odd. But not so far ago, my I got that email from our CEO that my role at Cheaper Cash had unfortunately become redundant. I was affected by a layoff. Um, it was well shocking, but not so shocking. Again, with my background, I'd been looking at budgets, by the way, reading to some of the signals. Um, so I literally had to carry myself through the season of being unemployed, bearing in mind I have a family of young children who they will not understand if you tell them you're unemployed when they need something, their needs still have to be met, and so many other financial goals and financial objectives. So during that time, what had actually helped is way back before I got into this career thing, out of passion. Uh, I've done so many things. I'm, by the way, one of those people who have literally, to date, people may tell, I meet so many guys who say, Maurice, why don't you start a business? You have so much knowledge. And I laugh at them because I've done so many things. I've sold shoes, I've washed cars, and these are things that some of them I did when I was at the university, and they were able to carry me through. But one of the things that I picked on, I think it was about my senior six, late high school, college. I realized I have a passion in speaking, but also I did have a passion in bringing order in audiences. So I picked a passion in being an MC for events. Back then, I did it. I started out doing it at no cost. You would invite me as long as there's a plate of food. Of course, I was young. I would eat the food. I would be doing nothing at the weekend, and I would MC. Started with simple functions, moved into weddings to a point where I realized, oh, this thing is actually a good thing. And back then, people hadn't commercialized it as much. So I got into it. I started out at a pricing level. I'm like, you know what? I won't be as expensive as long as you meet my cost of transport and I have a little money to take me through the week. That is how I started. So as I did that, I solidified my skill. I got a lot of exposure. And then basically that's how my journey in emceeing, which is like my main side hustle. Of course, I have so many others, but like it's my main. So fast forward again, when I'm laid off at Cheaper Cash, this is one of the things that I was able to hold on to. And when I'm laid off, one of the things that I think through, I'm like, now I need to think strategically. I traced back and I'm like, how much was I earning at Cheaper Cash? I looked at my ballpark, what I was earning at Cheaper Cash. I told myself, Maurice, you need to maintain this income at all levels. Yeah. So there are two ways to earn. Let's say if your target is to earn $10,000 a month, there are so many ways to earn it. You could either earn it from a single full-time job, or you could earn it from so many other things. Now, in my case, my full-time job was gone. So I told myself, you know what? I need to earn this X amount of money from these other so many things that I was doing. And I got a percentage for my side hustle. I think it took about 60%. I'm like, 60% of my income has, and this is why it all starts. It has to come from the gig. So I became more strategic. I need to make myself visible through the content that I share. I made myself more strategic. All the skills that I'd learned now, running companies, growing companies, doing marketing campaigns, I brought them into my side hustle. But most importantly, also what I did was to take it a notch higher and say, how do I grow? So I took a lot of learning because oftentimes what affects side hustles is to get to the place where you feel you know it all. And I'm telling you, Samuel, it was able to sustain us. It was able to push us through as a family. It was able to cushion me as an individual, like you say, to a place where I wasn't taking jobs because I was desperate. I was taking them because I really loved, or I would know that I'm going to drive value from this. So even after I got a job, I was sure because I'd done it previously. I've done this for like literally all my life, even when I'm employed. After a long work week, me looking at my computer, me talking at the same people, one of the things that I really need so much is to disrupt my thinking, is to disrupt my ordinary routine. So every time I step out there on a Saturday, on a Friday evening, and I dance with a couple, and I smile with them, and we raise glasses, and I make jokes. This is one way actually for me to be more effective on a Monday morning. So I keep joking about it in such a way. I'm like, I would probably still MC a wedding even if I'm not paid. Of course, that's not true. But the thing is, it disrupts my routine. It beyond seeing the fact that now outside the Jibo ecosystem, creating entrepreneurs, here I am contributing my skill, my talent in a different way. Sammy, I know it was an introduction, but it did spill over to you. Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. Quite an interesting journey that you've moved, Moses. Thank you so much for taking us through that direction. And I like the fact that you did not start doing these things at the time when you lost the job. This is something
Mm,
that
mm,
we're actually doing. And I know part of our,
mm,
members who are part of the call are people who already have their jobs.
mm,
And they may really not know that anything can happen. Like you said, uh, there was a huge budget that the least you could think about that you were going to lose your job. So, and yet this comes in and then you lost the job. So thanks for bringing that light. I think at this point in time, even as we've seen, you said layoffs stuff. What did you do immediately this
mm,
happened? Like how did you get yourself from that moment to now saying that, okay, I can do a lot with myself.
mm,
That kind of transition from the depression, but also
mm,
that aspect of like, can this thing happen to me? That unacceptance of the situation. How did
mm,
you translate from that to where you got to the level where you now started to create even more income? I know you were creating more income, but you
mm,
now,
mm.
there's a post you've said that you even started posting more than how you used
Yeah,
to. We just want you to
yeah.
take us because there are some of our members here who are still in that situation of trying to think what next, what can we,
Mm.
yeah.
Nice question. I think for me, for starters, like you mentioned, Samuel, the best time to get started on your side hustle is not when you're desperate. Um, that is rather a time that would be best for you to strengthen what you already have, the side hustle that you already started. So I would like to start it at that baseline and say, if you have a job, you're comfortable, you're happy, now would be really a great time for you to discover what am I passionate about, what can I do with my time, what can I do with my resources, what can I do with my passion. And it turns out we all have those things that we are passionate about that we can monetize in one way or the other. But okay, worst case scenario, let's imagine you've been laid off, you've been affected by either the meta layoff or the USAID funding, and you're on this call. I think for me, what I did as a starting point was I refused to live in denial, because what I did see happen quite frequently for many of the employees, trying to put up fights like I'm gonna take you to court. This can't work. You have to give me more severance package. I think that is literally living in denial of the reality. So personally, what I did when I got that email I'd been laid off, I accepted it. I took it in good faith. Thankfully for me, there was a little severance package. I quickly thought, how can I even put this to work? And then most importantly, how can I start creating more aggressive income from my side hustle? So my story is different because I already had a baseline. I'd already started working on my side hustle. But what my thought would be, if you haven't started, again, after you've been laid off, there's nothing in the background, take off some time, take off like a month and think, what can I do with my time? What can I do with my skill? And then ask yourself a second beautiful question. Who are the people that can go with me in this journey? Oftentimes it's very unfortunate, but we think we are alone, but the reality is we are never alone. So one of the things that can be very, very key for your side hustle is working with people who have walked this journey. I've personally lived my life in a way where I don't monetize as much. I mean, Samuel talked about the fact that I share content. I share that freely. Out of that content, by the way, I have people who reach out as frequently as possible on a weekly basis. That would say, Maurice, I would like to have a call with you. And I take these calls. I don't consult with these guys. I just take these calls and, talk them through the journey. So I would recommend that you've been laid off, you've thought through what you can do. Is there a person you can identify? And I think this space is really one of the beautiful spaces. Thank you, Coach Samuel, for what you're doing here. Are you able to, give Coach Samuel a call and say, Coach Samuel, so I've been laid off today and I have this car. This car is probably even still running on loan. What do you think I can do? Then that's when Coach Samuel will tell you, oh, by the way, do you know that probably you can do Uber or Bolt with your car? Do you know that maybe I can get you airport trips for KPMG staff that are traveling, outside the country? Do you know that maybe I have a friend who works with the Sheraton or Serena and who can book you in as a corporate car driver? So when you have these conversations, it's really key. And while I'm talking about that, most times when you talk about side hustles, we believe there are things that should be way complicated. I mean, part of my work previously, I did work with Bolt as country manager, Bolt formerly Taxify, and I did see a segment of drivers that we call secondary drivers. These are drivers that only drive either during the evenings, or they only drive during the weekends. And it is quite shocking. Back then, I did see drivers driving only the weekend and making up to gross income of about $80 just over a span of 2 days. Of course, there are net dynamics, they are removing fuel and wear and tear. But this is an individual who would literally say, during the week, I'm driving to work, but during the weekend, what can I do with my car? I have a friend who, he has this well-paying job and he rides a motorcycle to the job, but every from 5:30 to 8:30 is using that motorcycle to get an extra income. And for him, how he does it, he basically does smart deliveries. So he won't take anyone on the road. He just does smart delivery. The same thing over the weekend. So, but this you can only know if you step out to work with people, if you step out to work with people who have been there. And that's a thing that we don't have so much in Africa, because oftentimes in Africa, there's so much this thing of holding your idea so dear that you suffocate it, you know? You have a business plan, but you're like, I won't share with anyone. They will steal it. They will steal it. Before you know it, you go to the grave with it. But if you've been laid off, you've taken time to take it in, you've thought of an idea that you can probably do, and at that point you're having questions, is can this idea actually work? Are you able to identify people that have gone this journey, and then they would be able to spur you into your next direction? Of course, there are so many other things that will follow, how you're going to craft your MVP, minimum viable product, how you're going to market your idea, how you're going to scale it, you know, how you're going to manage finances. These are things that you can only do because the reality is you've been in employment for maybe 8 years and you don't know this space at all. Yeah. You don't know what it means to promote yourself. You don't know what it means to sell yourself. You don't know what it means to manage your personal income, your personal business income. So this is why if you get people that you can work with, they will spur you into the direction that you need to go. So that is what I would recommend, Samuel, for a person who has been, laid off and they're thinking, what next?
Thank you so much, Moses. And I believe in case you have any questions, you can use the chat box in case you're following the session via Zoom, or you can use the chat on YouTube. So, Moses, with that said, I know that one of the things you were very intentional was about growing your personal brand, even when you did not have a job. And that personal brand, you've even continuously grown it, not just for your job as a vice president at Jebu, but as also somebody who does emceeing work, and also the work that you do as a consultant who supports businesses on operations, management, and so on. How does, when it comes to creating alternative sources of income, how does a personal brand influence somebody's footprint, especially when they are looking for an income? Like, and why I'm bringing this because one of the key things right now, if somebody lost their jobs, they are prioritizing their funds, their money,
Mm,
and they wouldn't want to spend so much on certain things. Now, when somebody leverages on their personal brand, you find that they are going to not sell for free, but you're going to have less cost. For example, I'll tell you that you are an MC. So when you go
mm,
online and post, people come and buy from you. I usually tell people that you can actually start a business with zero capital. And sometimes
mm.
the zero capital is a financial capital, which you're saying, if you have this skill, you can actually go online and post about your consultancy in operations management, or I just want you to speak around the personal
Mm.
brand. How somebody who has lost their job, or who is on the verge, or who just wants to be intentional,
Mm.
what can they do to be able to leverage on that personal brand to be able to drive extra income for themselves? And why is it
That's a
important that every one of us need to be intentional about our personal brands?
that's a great question, Samuel. And I think to understand that, again, I have a business growth background because I do work with companies. I help them scale. And one thing I've seen, if you work with any for-profit company, you can never scale if you don't have any initiative towards your growth. Usually, we can call these growth initiatives, we can call them marketing initiatives, we can call them brand initiatives. There's no business that you can ever scale, there's no business that you can ever grow. You can never grow any revenue without any top line, without thinking about marketing, without thinking about branding. And I'm trying to lay a background to answer your question. And branding is two things. Branding is one, recognition. People being able to see you and attach something to you. In our typical scenario and this typical essence conversation, today when I meet people on the road, because of the content that I share, they can easily say, oh, that is Maurice, the MC. That is Moses Maurice, the one who works with Jibu. That is Moses Maurice, the operations consultant, because of the fact that they recognize me. So again, remember we said branding achieves two things. The first one is recognition, people being able to see you and attaching you to what you do. The second is recall, people being, and that is even more important, people being able to remember you against what you do. Again, typical example, if anyone of the call here is thinking about getting married and they are working through their budget and they get to the budget row MC, event host, they will think about service providers. And what I really want to do in that moment is I want to be one of the first people, if not the only people they think about. So branding will achieve those two things, recognition and recall. So again, back to your question, coach, why is personal branding very important? Personal branding for a side hustle is so important because it helps you achieve the two. It will help you be recognized in that space. Yeah. You're literally, it's a literally lightweight marketing channel. And in this case, for what I do in sharing content, it's I literally, the only cost is my time to sit and prepare content. But every time I share, I'm doing two things. When I write about a side hustle, beyond the impact, obviously, that I drive for a person who is in my audience, being able to learn about side hustle, what I'm doing is I'm establishing recognition. Somebody on the call, somebody in the audience is able to know that, hey, that guy actually talks about side hustles and he keeps mentioning the fact that he's an MC. So they recognize me. But also, what they do is recall me when the time comes. So building your personal brand and is very important because at the end of the day, it is what is going to esteem your side hustle. It is what is going to promote your side hustle. Today, I'm at a point where I don't market directly. Most of my emceeing gigs would, at least 99% would come from either referrals or people that have seen what I talk about on LinkedIn. That precise. You won't find my flyers anywhere. You won't. It's basically that. Hey Maurice, I got your number from LinkedIn. Hey Maurice, I got your number from a friend. Hey Maurice, I got your number from a couple that whose wedding you emceed. Oh, I got your number from this organization. So when you build your personal brand, it's that strong that even when you cannot sell yourself in the middle of the night, your personal brand, the post that you made some time back is being read by someone outside Uganda. And for me, that is the power of a personal brand towards promoting your side hustle. We live at such a time where the internet is such a powerful tool in promoting brands. Now, the same is true for promoting our side hustles. So if your company, Coach Samuel, you directly work with KPMG, $1 billion worth of value company. They are still making an investment in marketing. Why not invest in your side hustle? Why not invest in building your personal brand and promoting yourself that way? So personal brands are that critical in promoting your side hustle.
All right. Thank you so much, Maurice. And now I know you already spoke about ideas around how somebody can source an idea. And I think one of the things you mentioned is talk to other people. Maybe they are seeing what you're not seeing. And I want us, I don't know, you chose to become an MC and you also
Mm.
chose to become a consultant. I know some people would ask you, why are you not opening a retail store and sell? For somebody who is looking for something to do alternative to their day job, either they are currently employed or they would want to do something that even when the job finds them, they can still do this. How can
Mm.
they start in terms of how do they come up with ideas
Mm.
around what alternative sources of income? And I think there's a similar question. I think it came from Silas, who says, what are the biggest mistakes people make when trying to create alternative sources of income? So I just want you to create that angle from there. I'm here. I want to I honestly know the reasons why I need an alternative sources of income, but
Mm,
where do I start from? And what should I really do? Like, how do you wake up and say, I'm now an MC, I'm now a
mm,
consultant? I just want us to take us through that journey and how you got here.
Nice, good question. There are a few things that I want to mention. The starting point is you have your 8 to 5, and honestly, the second thing you want right now is to create a second job for yourself. Yeah, I really want to be honest. You don't want to create a second job for yourself. Your employer probably doesn't want you to create a second job for yourself, because what that will do, most likely, it will mean you're ineffective. So, whatever you choose to do, you really have to make sure that it's either going to be enjoyable or you're going to spend so little time on it, but it can't feel like a job. So look at everything right now that you probably don't like in your job. And I know we like this whole mantra of my job is glossy. I love my job. I love the impact. But there are also things that we don't love. I mean, I personally, I don't like the, Mondays. I don't like the commute. Those are things that, I'm not proud of. Make sure that your side hustle doesn't drag you in that same drill. So I think that's the best line that I need to mention. Do not think of another job. The second thing is you want to be careful what implication your physical presence has to your side hustle. Personally, I chose a side hustle that literally is dependent on my physical presence. I mean, I cannot delegate in my emceeing. Some of the mistakes that I've seen people do, and you hinted on this, Samuel, is start a retail shop, which is very good. I mean, start a retail shop, start a salon, but that same business, that same retail shop, if you're to not, for you to get it off the ground, for you to manage it very well, it's most likely going to need your presence, unless otherwise. Yeah, like we have outlier situations. I have my sister. I really trust them so much, and they are worthy of my trust. So they will do the job. There are those outliers, but those are really, really few. So my recommendation would be you would rather choose something that is flexible enough in that when your presence is not there, it doesn't fail. Again, back to the example of being an Uber driver, it's two instance. You can say, I have my second car, someone will drive it. The other person will say, if I give it to a person to drive it, yes, they make some money, but when they bring it back, the car is damaged. Now, me on the other side, I will choose and say, over the weekends, if I'm available, I would rather drive my car. I monitor it very well. I strictly do it for business. I gain so much more. So that's the foundation. But then in terms of choosing the actual side hustle, there's some of the areas where we can look. The first one is your passion. That is a great area to look at because, again, passion are things that we do even when we are tired. Usually when I get calls when I'm at home and somebody calls, hi Maurice, I want to MC your wedding. Like I would put my phone on speaker and they would ask for my bill. And when I say my bill, my wife always laughs. She's like, hey, but Abby, you can talk even when someone wakes you up in the middle of the night. Why are you even charging those guys? You shouldn't be charging them anything. But that's how side hustles should be. So one area to look at passion. What are the things that really excite you? The things that don't feel like work for you. That is really important because for me, even in terms of pricing, ideally, I don't have to overprice because at the end of the day, as long as my fuel is compensated, as long as I have a minimal hourly average, I will be happy because I'm like, what is there to lose? So one area to look is passion. What are the things that you're passionate about? Some of us are passionate about cooking. What can you do around this? As recently talking to a friend who is passionate about shopping, just going to the supermarket and selecting the right thing and the right color. And I told them that I am the total opposite. I don't like shopping. So imagine if you did something that, does someone's groceries for the weekend and you'll bring, we usually send our border guys, but some of them, because of their education levels, they will not get you what you want, the specific item. So I'm like, imagine if, I mean, me, I personally don't like moving around the store for so long. Yeah. So passion is one place to look. The second place to look is need. Yeah. What are the needs that are around you? By around you, it could be when you hang out with friends, what are the things that they talk about quite often? It could be as simple as when I go out with my friends, everybody is struggling with the fact that they have to go to the salon, and they will spend so much time waiting, for the person to come and attend to them. And yet here you are, you're passionate about plaiting hair. How possible is it that over the weekend you will probably plait 3 heads, each head being 400,000? That's what, 1.2. So the need, what is the need? We say place number one is the passion. Place number two is the need. What are the needs that are around you when you look around your community, when you look around your family, when you look around your workmates? Yeah. We have some organizations whereby people struggle with breakfast, and yet here you are passionate about baking. Are you able to bake something and go with it to work? We have people that work 8 to 5, and when they go home, there's nothing to eat. Are you able to think about around the same, meals that you can provide? So what is the need around you? So there's the passion aspect, there's the need aspect, and then the final one is impact. In what areas would you like to create an impact? Personally, one of the things, again, because of my faith, I'm really so passionate about creating strong marriages. And it is one of the things that pushes me to love to work with couples. By the way, when you hire me as your MC, one of the things that I will do, I don't just do a one-off. For all my couples, we work like a series of maybe 2 weeks ahead of the function, and even a journey after, where I'm, talking to them about marriage as a person who has been there, telling them what to expect, the things to look forward to, just doing a premarital counseling. But even after I become their friends, I check on them. I will send them anniversary messages. Some of them I will take them for anniversary dinners, because I'm really passionate about creating impact in the space of healthy marriages. So the final aspect would be, what impact would you want to create? So, Coach Samuel, those are the 3 areas in terms of why you would look: the passion that you potentially have, the need that is available around you, but also the impact that you possibly want to create.
Ah, great, 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 great. I think you spoke about passion. I think if there's one thing I want to add is the profession. In the same way, and I think one person has shared here in the comment section. She says that recently a friend who owns a school offered me to work as an accountant, doubling. This meant leaving work at 10 p.m. and she was being given a salary of 400K. Much likely Esther is an accountant. So means, and I've also done this work before. So you do your full-time work Monday to Friday, and then Saturday you have small businesses that you're helping around. Could you just also just comment around your consulting work as somebody who is a profession? How has that been able to bring you an income, but also for somebody who has skills and maybe they do not have a job, or even if they have a job, but they want to also leverage on that because they, over time, they get people asking them, Samuel, you're very good at accounting or taxes. Can you help me with my business? Could you just speak about the profession and how we can be able to make money around that as well as consultants now?
Yeah. Amazing. So you can monetize 2 things. The first one, we've already belabored that is passion. You can monetize your passion. But the second one is you can monetize your skill. And why monetizing your skill is really important is, the more a skill is like a muscle. You cannot grow it if you don't work it. The more you work your skill, the more you grow it. That is how experience is built. And the honest truth is, for many of us, our skill is underworked in our organizations. Yeah, it is usually underworked because how work cultures work is there's basically a routine when it comes to work. You're doing the same things month over month. It is the same KPIs. You get into a cycle whereby you're literally not growing. Now, monetizing your skill is so important in that you're exposing your skill to a number of facets that actually allows you to grow. So I would recommend, again, what is the one skill that you're passionate about? What is the one skill that you feel you're knowledgeable, but also you love doing? In my instance, it's most likely operations and strategy development for early stage companies. Now, when I have that as a skill, I ask myself, what more can I do outside my work to not only monetize this skill, but also to grow this skill? Now, as I think that you need to be very cautious for many of us, so literally for all of us, whatever, when you're monetizing your skill, you're cautious that you're not monetizing it in space of your main job's competitor. As a typical example, Coach Samuel working for KPMG, we wouldn't expect him consulting for Ernst and Young. Obviously, that's violation of contract. For many of us, we have such binding contracts. However, if Coach Samuel goes ahead and monetizes his tax consultant skill with a school, there's totally wrong that he has done. It's outside the work schedule and he has delivered on his KPIs. That actually would only allow him to be much better, because if tomorrow KPMG gets a big school as a client, Coach Samuel already would have had the exposure and the knowledge. So, what is your favorite skill? I know many of us usually have, it's called a 3 to 7 rule. Yeah, you have a total of seven skills, but you have like your preferred three. What are those three skills that you feel professionally you have? And then once you have them, ask yourself, what, again, going back to the question of the need, what is the need? From the need, establish a niche. Like I told you, mine, when it comes to consultancy, my niche has been early stage companies that wish to scale. So I would, any early stage company would approach me, say, hey, Maurice, we need to talk to you about our growth strategy. And then I would work with them on a deliverable plan basis. Now, where I am, I moved away from time pricing consultancy to deliverable pricing consultancy, because sometimes different deliverables you complete in a different range of time. So I felt time pricing was rather not adequate. So I work with deliverables. But again, it starts with a need. The primary skills that you want to monetize, identify that need, then establish, how do I do my pricing? Will it be deliverable best? Some of the other things that I do is I will offer lectures, and I teach in some places. So again, it is the same skill that I'm monetizing elsewhere in the different places.
Thank you so much, Moses. I know you mentioned to me already about the hard close, so I'm here trying to filter out and see how we can get the best out of you. So
It
there's
is a
one
side hustle, by the way, taking me off at that time.
I want you to just speak about
Mm,
somebody asks and says, what about a jack of all trades is a master of
mm,
none? Yet we are looking to diversifying our incomes. And I just want you to
mm,
also, how does somebody balance
mm,
their job with the side hustle? And I'll give you a picture that you find that I work Monday to Saturday, and I'm really very tired. I cannot do much. Or I work Monday to Sunday. There's one army guy who is a friend here. He might be part of the call. He says he's always away from home, but he's always interested to create an income. So I just want you to get all those questions into your response. How does somebody, because the struggle or is always time, I'm aware, and I just want you to also link something around passive income to be able to also speak about how can somebody create something if at all they have a busy schedule and they cannot do emceeing work like the one you do.
Great. I think there's another broader conversation around time utilization. The honest truth is we've all been given 24 hours. We spend 8 hours of that, ideally during work. That is what you say, or what we say. However, I read somewhere that most of us proactively spend just 5 hours of the typical 8 hours. Well, there's so much psychology behind it and proving concentration span and all of that. So, but let's imagine bare minimum that you spend 8 hours at work. And let's imagine for some of us, which is the healthy rate for, I don't know if it's more for women, 8 hours of sleep. Let's imagine that you spend 8 hours sleeping. Now, out of that, there's another pending 8 hours. Well, let's imagine out of those, you spend about 3 hours in transit and play. You know, you have a family, you have a wife, you need to go. Let's imagine you spend 3 hours of that. So in a typical day, that means it leaves us 5 extra hours. My question to you is, where is this time going? Who is paying for this time? Who is rewarding you for this time? So I think the question of I don't have enough time could be true in a few instances, but in most of the instances, it's a question of prioritization, beginning from our 9 to 5, our 8 to 5 prioritization to a place of prioritizing our outside 9 to 5. But that said, again, part of your question was on creating passive income. There's still a number of other passive income streams that we can follow. And I know, Coach Samuel, you talk about those. Especially, are we able to invest in digital assets? Are we able to invest in bonds? Are there things that I'm going to do that are not going to require so much time? For example, what does it take for me out of my busy 9 to 5 to buy a plot of land in a busy place and sell it at a marginal profit 6 months later? Yes, I'm still busy, but I'm still creating that passive income. But I think, again, this is what I want to end with the issue of time. I think what I've come to realize and appreciate with life is whatever matters to us, we have to be intentional about it. That is the same thing about your time. So if you feel you're in that space and you need to create a side hustle, you need to make time for it, you rather have to be intentional and you will have to make some sacrifices to make it work.
All right. Thank you so much, Moses. And I just want you to and thanks everyone for following. Please, in the comment section, please share your side hustles. We need to know. Moses has already told us quite a number of them. Now I know that if I need an MC, I'll look for Moses. If somebody's marrying, I need a counselor, I look for Moses. And that is how you actually market yourself. So thank you so much, Moses. So I just want you, Moses, to just even as we get this first session down, Moses has a side hustle that he'll be dropping off for. So I'll be taking the next half of the session, taking you through the next half of the session. So just make sure that you hold onto there as we go through the session. I just want you to speak from a brother perspective, a parent, to someone who just lost their job. I just want you to use the next minutes as you're with us to just speak to that person who feels like the world has come to the end, especially around how you navigated your job loss and how you change your mindset. I know that you really understand. So just speak to that person, speak to their heart.
I hear you. I feel you. I've been there. And I just want to put a disclaimer there and say, I want to care for as many people that are in this space as possible. So one of the things that I've done every twice a week, I use my traffic jam time to talk to people like you. So Coach Samuel, I will request that you drop the link to my LinkedIn in the chat. People can follow me and send me messages if you're in that space. But the honest truth, what I want to say is it's not the end. It's not the end for you. It is not the end for your family. It is not the end for your career. I know instincts and thoughts are going to make you feel like you're done, your career is broken, you will never get good income, you will never find a good job. But the reality is, this should most likely be setting you up for something even bigger, for something better. So I'm with you, I feel you, and I know something is going to open up. My recommendations would be, again, one, take heart, encourage yourself. The honest truth is, no one can ever encourage us as well as we can encourage ourselves. And if you beat yourself, the world will even beat you harder. So take heart, encourage yourself. That is one. The second thing is, quite unfortunate as it is, you have to cut your expenses. You have to live lower within your means. So try to think through some of the things that you can optimize. I was there. It was painful when you have a family, but there are hard conversations, there are hard decisions that have to take place. So you need to optimize. The third thing is you've optimized. Think of the fact that all income counts. And I am really for that, even as I talk to especially the young people. One of the things that my late dad told me is you really want to all income counts, count all income and discount all expenditure. So whatever you feel is not in contrary with your values, some of these things are not even going to be in line of your passion, in line of your skill. There's something that are different. I talked about you driving a car. Be flexible enough as long as it's going to cushion you, because the last thing that you want when you're looking for a job is to be desperate because of money. So be able to look for those sources of income. And then the fourth and final thing is put yourself out there, build a personal brand, establish a brand that people can count on, that people can count on to give you opportunities. Some of us have been laid off, and it's quite unfortunate you hadn't built your LinkedIn profile, you hadn't started, but now is a good time to start. Start sharing content, talk about what you know, talk about what you love, and then in so doing, people will know you and people will trust you. But I want to encourage you, and again, if my coach has shared my LinkedIn URL, please drop me a DM if you feel you need to talk. This offer is precise for people who have been laid off. I will have a call with you, no payment, and I'll be able to encourage you. Again, as a person, I'm not a consultant in job loss, but I've been there for 14 months, and for me, it got over eventually. I also believe for you, it will be over. And thank you so much, Coach Samuel, for having me. Thank you everyone for allowing me the opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much, Moses. Much appreciated. May God bless you. And thank you for the offer to have a chat with some of the people. Those that would like to access Moses have displayed his LinkedIn profile. You'll find him as Moses Maurice Mugerwa. And he's amazing. He's an amazing guy. So thank you so much, Moses. I know what this means by you being here. But thank you so much for really being somebody who likes to share your knowledge and encourage. And I know that all that you do is not in vain. We'll be able to bear even more fruits. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
To our viewers, make sure that you share your side hustles. Quite a number of them coming through there. Thank you so much for following through this session. So one of the things that I want to share with you, I want to share with you my journey around side hustle and why I feel that it's important for you to be able to create your side hustle. So where do I start with the side hustle? So I want to say that the first time I got to understand the side hustle was from my late father. So my late father lost his job while we were young. I think I'd not even joined school. So imagine somebody loses their job and they have young children to take care of. So that was the situation at home. And because he had tried to work on his skill, he was a passionate photographer. So from his photography skills, he was able to create a business that was able to take care of us throughout school. So that is the first time I got an eye opener around a side hustle. So when I got into university and also got into employment, one of the things that I also came to understand that salary will never be enough. And you'll agree with me that you receive a salary today, and before you get 15, the salary is actually gone. And it even gets worse that we keep on having more needs. As an individual, you want to build, you want to drive, you want to get wedded, you want to have children, you want them to go to better schools than you went to. When you look at all your aspirations and look at your income, you get to realize that this is not something that is easy to achieve with your salary. And one of the things that I've also come to appreciate is that our salaries at our workplaces do not grow at the level at which our needs grow. The best you could get is maybe I used to work in an organization where they would give us a 3% increase every year. And now what that means is that that is the extra you can go to. So it means that you're going to get yourself into debt, means that you're going to borrow every month, that when you receive your salary, you're going to get yourself in circumstances where by the time the salary comes, it is already eaten up. So you go through a whole cycle. Now, these days there are salary loans. So you find yourself that because you cannot survive, you're going to take that salary loan and it's going to even get you deep into debt, because that is how the cycle is created. So you work your way out for all the years into this employment, into looking at salary, and you move like a prisoner because you cannot survive beyond. Now, when I realized some of those things, I started to work on myself. So I started from myself. I'm an accountant. So I started from my skills, trying to teach people accounting, my fellow students, then started helping organizations around accounting and so on. And so it grew. And from that, I started to look at other things. I opened some retail shops here and there, opened different things that would bring me an income here and there. And believe me, it worked out. Now, along the way, in my third year, I worked for an organization. It was a telecom company. I know some of you might have known it. It was called Vodafone here in Uganda. So I worked for it. This was a dream company. Like, you see, you get an organization and you feel that this is the dream company that you could never think about closing. So we were there, I did 1 year. And within about 1.5 years coming to 2 years, this company had a restructuring. So it had a restructuring where 60 employees lost their jobs. So what happened is we wake up on a Monday, we get to office, and as people were trying to log in, some people failed to log in. So people were wondering, what is happening? So somehow HR came through and said, those that are not able to log in, you need to gather in this place. We'll come and speak to you. It was very unfortunate. I watched this happen. People did not expect, unprepared job loss, just like the way we have seen you said do it, unprepared. They have not prepared you. You have bills to pay, much like even the last month's salary, you've already consumed it. Your children at school, you did not pay full school fees. You do not have rent. Maybe you have 2 months outstanding and there is cut. And what the employer is giving you is maybe two months salary. Okay, that is on a better note. But in the same way, every one of us know that the journey of searching for a new job is not easy. Actually, that was around 2017, I think. But I'll tell you that even from that 2017, those 60 employees that lost their jobs at that time, many of them have never found any better job up to now. And that is how many years we are coming out, over 10 years. But now there is someone who had a side hustle. So he moved to his side hustle. He actually was doing accounting, so he went and opened up an accounting firm. And right now, he's one of the top people that are running accounting firms in Uganda. So so many people went in different directions. But what am I saying? That same organization actually, after they did restructuring, within the next, I think about 7-8 months, it finally closed. So it means that even us who had survived, I actually did not go through the restructuring. Even us that had survived, somehow it caught up with us. Thank God by that time I had moved to another organization. But what did that teach me? You know, some of the lessons, you don't wait them to happen to you to learn. For me, that opened my mind. And from that time, I saw and told myself, I'm never, never, and never going to depend on salary alone. It is okay to have savings here and there, but there's something called cash flow. If you are able to create an income on a day-to-day basis, even if that income is coming on a weekly or it's coming monthly, even if it's a million shilling, let me tell you, even if you're earning, let's say 5 million, 7 million, but you have a million shilling that is generated from side income, that 1 million means a lot to you. Why? Because you are in charge of it. Means that you are at a point in time where you're saying, in case I lose my job, I can never go hungry. I can never fail to pay rent. At least I can survive if those two things are paid for, and my kids can still remain in school. And I can never go back to the village, because some of you, all you have is maybe a rented place. So it means that if you cannot pay rent, all you have to do is go back to the village. From that time, I said, I'm not going to do that. And for people who have followed me for a long period of time, that is one of the times when I made the decision to be intentional about my personal brand, because I knew that there is power in me growing my personal brand online. And I'll tell you that most of my side hustles I've leveraged on the online space. We are gifted by the internet, that even when you have a busy job, I have one of the busiest jobs, but I'll tell you that right now I'm speaking to you about 95 on Zoom here, and quite a number of people who are following through the session. We are watching this session as it is in a live session. I don't have to meet each one of you to deliver this message. You're here watching. And even if I was telling you to pay maybe 10,000 each one of you, you know how much money I would be making here? It would be over 1 million shilling that I would be making. That's what the online space helps you. I've been privileged to grow this journey, learning from people, being curious and saying, how can I earn from internet? There are quite a number of people that have said, you can earn from internet. And I keep on asking myself, I'm a person who believes in genuine income. I know we have quite a number of people who will tell you here, robots do ABCD, and I don't want to argue with them. That is how they do their things. But me, I'm speaking about being able to create something that you can be able to grow. Even if you're saying, I'm going to deal in children's clothes, I'm going to buy these clothes, create a Facebook page, create a LinkedIn page, and I'm going to brand them and keep sharing. And people will be buying. There are quite a number of businesses that have grown online without physical presence. When I started doing tutoring, for those that are some of my students who are to CPA, we started tutoring and getting students just from online, because right now you see this phone, many people, even right now, you're following through this session through online. So it means that most of your time is on the phone. So why can't you sell on phone? You have the WhatsApp status. That is your starting point. Just buy some, it's just about knowing where to buy something. Sometimes you do not even have to invest money, because all you need to know is, where can I find this thing? This person has good furniture. So we can work it out. I do the marketing for you for the furniture, and then you're able to pay me a commission. So for you keep on sharing on your status furniture, and you have a good people, great people in your network. And these are people who are going to buy from you. You see, even when somebody doesn't buy from you, they will recommend to another person. And it's not as easy as I'm speaking it, but I want to tell you that you have made a decision to buy something online, but you do not know even the background of how that person got online. So that is the same thing for you. You can be able to leverage online to be able to make an income. You do not need to open up a kit store for you to start making an income. You do not need to open up, let's say, a food store, or if you're dealing in baking and catering, you don't need to have an office or have a location. You can just be able to say, okay, where can I find clients? I can find them on TikTok. So I'm going to open up a TikTok page for my business, start making videos while I'm doing these cakes, and I'm going to grow my brand. If you're an accountant like myself, there are quite a number of people who have been able to leverage online. I have a YouTube channel. Some of you might have gone to that YouTube channel. That YouTube channel is called Accounting Coach Uganda. I just want to show you that YouTube channel. I was able to monetize that YouTube channel. And you know what I do on that channel? I basically teach what I know, just the accounting that I know. So what am I saying here is that the things that can generate you money are not so far from you. You see, I have over 4,000 subscribers. And that means that I'm monetized. YouTube pays me money when you watch my content. But you see what I do? I come and just speak through. I just speak from my brain. So the internet has quite a number of things that you can be able to do. Some of you follow me on my LinkedIn, and you realize that I have been able to build a brand that people just now come to my profile and say, Samuel, I want you to help me with my CV. You can see my services here. I've been able to position myself onto here, either financial advisory, resume, interview preparation, executive coaching, public speaking. And this is how I get business. From there, you receive somebody send you a message and say, Samuel, I want you to help me with my CV, and you give them a price and tell them, this is what I need to charge. But I would definitely tell you that despite me growing this brand, and I know for some people will be like, but Samuel, I have a busy job. I cannot do a busy. I have one of those busy jobs. But you can see that even with the busy jobs, I can be able to get exceptional awards while doing my side hustles. Some of you are afraid of even starting your side hustles because you're like, I'm on LinkedIn, my employers will see me, what would they think about me? I'll tell you, when you are in that corner, thinking about your life, when you're struggling with the bills, your employer will not be there. What you need to do is be excellent at your job. As you're driving your side hustle, be excellent at your job. There are also great employers, and I read uploads some of them, that support you when it comes to your side hustle. They will be there to support you, to give you cheerlead the whole support. One of my employers, I used to work for an organization called Save the Children. When I left, they invited me to speak to their staff about personal finance, and they're waiting to pay me. And even my boss, when we used to be in the meetings, you say, we have a personal finance coach among us. He coaches us. Even where I work at KPMG, my top bosses know what I do. They know that I'm a coach. So, and it has, even my fellow employees be wondering, but Sam, how do you do it? How can you even work here and be doing those things online? One of the things I came to believe is that you need to be able to think about yourself, prioritize yourself, because you are a contract clause away your poverty. When they are chasing you from that organization, when that organization is struggling financially and it's looking for who to cut off, they will not think about things emotionally. They will just say, we are sorry. Moses just posted something that that made me think really about how life can just be. And I just want to share it here. This is, I think this is Meta. So Meta says in January, Mark shared that we are accelerating performance terminations during the year-end cycle. Unfortunately, due to your performance, your employment has been terminated. This was an email to somebody. We understand you have questions. Please read this letter carefully as it includes a number of details to your separation from Meta. It goes on to say that we also have created a dedicated site called Alumni Portal, where you'll access information and resources to assist you. You see, you have been an employee for this organization. Maybe you've worked for over 10 years. You have been living office-led. You've been doing all you can to be that person who is there for the organization, and you receive such an email. You have a family, have children, you basically you are lost what to do next. And believe me, there has never been a tough time like this in searching for jobs. Finding a job in this era and age continues to be complicated. Why? Because there are quite a number of people in the market. So there's a lot of pool of people who are in the market. So it's not easy to move from one job to another. Even if you lost your job in the recent, let's say you said, let me tell you, if your mind is now thinking about finding the next job, you'll continue to be depressed because the chances are high that the job will take its time. If by luck you can find a job, and those are very few people, because even the jobs, when you search, I'm an accountant, but when you search accounting jobs, you see that there are few. There are not very many. So what does that mean for you? That even as you wait to find the job, start to think about yourself so much differently. Sometimes we are looking at ourselves from what we studied. I'm an accountant and this is what I can think. So you can only think about yourself as an accountant. When I started doing public speaking, many people thought I could not do this. But I knew that beyond the accounting, I can speak. Beyond the accounting, I can be a mentor, I can be a coach. Beyond the accounting, I can support other people when it comes to their CVs. I can prepare people for interviews and they pay me. People can just book an hour and speak to me because I thought about myself beyond. What is going to rescue you from now from your situation is to think beyond the job search. Just ask yourself and say, if it was not for the job, if I was not going to look for the job, what else can I do with my life? Some of you have land in the villages. Some of you are connected. You have machines at home. Sometimes you have that oven that keeps looking at you and you're like, but I can use this thing to earn an amount of money. But you're not using it. You're not leveraging on it. Some of you have machines, have computers, and there's a lot of knowledge around either data analytics. There are quite a number of sites. There's a site called, I think it's called Fiverr. Let me just, there's a site called Fiverr. It's a marketplace for people who are looking, who are doing freelancing. You can register your account and start selling your skills. There are quite a number of people here. Okay? There are quite a number of people here that you can be able, so you can be able to look for ways. You may not go to Fiverr. You can just say on my LinkedIn, myself, I have over now, how many people? I have over now, I think coming to 40,000 people. Do you know how much that means in terms of the visibility you have? And you are leaving money on the table if you're not using some of these platforms. You have a skill. Say, I'm very good at data analytics, okay? I can sell my skills. I have a friend of mine here called Noho, might be on the call. He's a data analytics person. You'll find him that he does training. He said, I lead, train, and inspire data-driven, even leaves his phone number there because he knows the power of the space. What is that skill that you know? Some of the skills that are going to help you generate income right now are skills you have to go and learn. Basically, you have to ask yourselves, can I learn, can I do anything beyond just this accounting? Can I go and learn baking? Can I go and just learn this thing? Maybe I'm one person who does, I did a lot of graphic designing. There's an application called Canva. It has templates for you. You don't even be a good graphic designer. But I used to go to that application and design flyers for people who needed flyers, and they would pay me. And how much are they paying me? Each flyer, they are paying me 20,000, they're paying me 10,000, they're paying me 15,000 based on my negotiation. And what that meant is that I had an income. Like I told you, if you're earning an amount of money, the 10,000 I'm speaking about is Uganda shillings from our international audience. But if you have something that even if brings in $2 to you, you are far, far ahead than somebody who is earning millions of money in their salary, but they don't have anything. So that is one thing you need to be able to know. And then when we speak about alternative sources of income, I want you to also to open your brain to think about what is called passive income. I know there's a gentleman, I think it's called Warren Buffett, who says that if you do not learn how to make money while sleeping, okay, it is highly likely that you're going to work till you die. What that guy means is that you can actually be asleep and people are paying. They are either paying for your course. Maybe you did a course, you have something that you're so good at, so you did a course, so people are paying for that course. It's online, and that's what the online space helps us, because you'll find people in another, let's say, maybe time zone, so they are buying from you when you're sleeping. When it is day for them, when it's night for you, for me, them it is day. I have a friend of mine who I just joined his session. He's called Dr. Mike or Adipo. Is actually now in Kenya. He is going to have a session in Kenya, but he had a session here in Uganda, and we were at Protea Hotel last Saturday. We were about 60 people. We are paying about, let me just say a random figure, maybe about 150. So when you get that 150 and multiply by 60 people, how much money is that? That is about, how much money can somebody drop there? 60 times 150,000 per head. Okay, even let's just count it at 100. So 100,000 times 60, that is 6 million. So when somebody is organizing a webinar like that, his revenue is over 6 million. If he removes costs, maybe he has maybe about 2 million or 3 million. I'm not saying that he made that amount of money, but I'm just opening your eyes that he came from Nigeria and he came here, sold us something, and we were there listening to him. So it means that somebody was posted 9 million. So you can imagine that a single session, somebody is making that revenue, because before removing costs. But what that means is that their courses I've attended, there's another guy whom I joined his sessions. His sessions are for 250,000. You just join his session online. Yeah. And he's not spending a lot of money. Maybe he's spending on Zoom, whatever. But people are selling online and they're spending less. And for you saying, I don't have capital to start my side hustle, but people are leveraging on this online space to say, I can actually hold Zoom classes about my fashion, or I'm good at making hair, so I can do Zoom classes about hair for women, or I can do Zoom classes about fitness, if in case you're very good at it, or I can do Zoom classes about what could it be? So there are quite a number of things that you can be able to do just with your skills, with your knowledge. Quite a number of my classes, for me who does CPA trainings, I do them online. And people come and pay for the knowledge online. So as you're thinking about, as you're limiting yourself into what you can earn, just think about the things near you and say, I have a laptop, I have a phone. You see this phone that you see here? I make content around this phone. And this content has made way for me. I usually share with people and tell them that I was able to get to different spaces by just through content. There are quite a number of people that have been able to give me platforms to be able to speak to just because of content. Recently, I was speaking to a Nigerian audience just from content, from online. Somebody comes and says, "Your Professor, I'm very interested about, within your with your profile. You're doing a great job. I'm inviting you. How much can you charge us?" And right there, you're earning money. You're giving them their rate. So there's a lot that we can actually do with our skills, with our knowledge. Either you've lost your job or you've not yet lost your job. You need to be able to start thinking beyond just what you have studied. There are quite a number of things that you can be able to leverage on to change your life, okay? To change your life. And you can start small. When you are starting a side hustle, the reason why some people are struggling with their side hustles is because you have access to loans. You're going to take a huge loan and going to pour it into a business, and that business is going to flop because you don't have time for it. That's a mistake. I have a friend of mine, he took over, I think, about 40 million. He started up a chicken project because he was energized. I need to do this. I need to do, I need to do to earn money. Went and set up equipment. Within about 1 year, he was saying the feeds, I cannot feed the chicken. He said, my chicken are dying. And you know what he did? He now started looking for a customer who buys the machines. Why? Because he just jumped onto something. It is the reason why corporate businesses fail. Businesses that are started up by people who are corporate fail on that basis, because some of them, you want to start so big. Yes, they can work out. I've run some businesses that are being run by other people. But in that long, you have to put the necessary systems. You have to watch people, because there are people who think you have a lot of money, and by starting whatever you've started, they can just do whatever they need with your money. You need to be able to think beyond and say, what can I do that I have control over? If you can't supervise a business, do not start it. If you can't supervise a business, you can't create time for that business, please find other ways of earning money. I would encourage you, pick that money and go and put it in a unit trust. And of course, some of the other sources of income that you think about are money markets that will be able to bring you some interest. Of course, the interest may not be a lot of money, but it's a good starting point. Because if you're saving, let's say maybe 10 million, you can get maybe 1 million at the end of the year at 10%. Yeah, but not a lot of money. I know those money markets would work very well if at all maybe you're retiring and you have good surveillance space. So it means that if you put 100 million, so you can be able to make, let's say, 10 million. If you put 1 billion, you can structure it that you have payouts of, let's say, maybe 5 million every month. But if you do not have anything, you need to start from zero. You need to start from whatever you have and see, how can I be able to earn an income? One of the things that for me has worked for me are side hustles that are around my skills, my knowledge, and side hustles that are built around my personal brand. Those I have control over because they are around me. When people are reaching out to me, they will be able to reach out to me as me. So I have some level of control compared to these businesses that I don't understand. Some of you are opening up shops. You're going to go to enter businesses that there are people there who are on the ground, your competitors, who are so good in knowing the market intelligence that it will be a struggle. One of the things that has also helped me when it comes to side hustles is partnerships. I partner with someone and we're able to leverage on each other's time. When I'm available, I can be able to run. When I'm not available, this person can chip in. That is one thing that has helped me. Even with my wife as well, being able to run some of our enterprises together with my wife has also been very, very helpful. So that could also be, you can have your sister, you can have your brother, somebody you can trust and say, we can start something together. That is one area. What has also helped me is working together within an investment club. So we are like, we can come together, set up a real estate enterprise, and then from the rent income, we can be able to share. That is one thing that has also worked very well. And if you're busy, real estate is one of these aspects that you could think about that could give you an additional income to say that I'm going to, let's say, invest and put up my rentals that can give me an income. And you know, there are quite a number of people that keep saying, rentals don't have money, rentals don't have money. But you who is an employee, one, you're busy, you do not have time, you do not have anything. Instead of just having that amount of money or wasting that amount of money in putting it in a business that you cannot supervise, put it in investments that require less of you. Okay? If you you're somebody who is a good writer, there are quite a number of people that I've also seen earn a lot of money through books. Actually, one of our guests who will be speaking to us next Friday is an author from Zambia. He's called Mr. Yangeni. He'll be speaking to us about how you can be able to overcome self-doubt and self-belief. So one of the things that you could think about yourself is to see, can I write a book? Because let me give you an example. How much is a book? A book, most of the authors sell their books here in Uganda, maybe about 30,000, let's say. If you sell 100 books, how much money would that be on 30,000? Can somebody just type in the chat box? How much money would that be if you sell 100 copies of books? 100 copies of books, each at 30,000. How much would that be? So somebody say 3 million. Yeah. And you know what 3 million means? A lot of money. Many people cannot earn that amount of money. But at the end of the day, there's a question I just asked Moses about. What is the importance of your personal brand when it comes to being able to sell? This gentleman I'm showing here, Mr. Yangeni, he's been able to sell thousands of copies. So I just want you to multiply 30,000 times now 1,000 copies. He's been able to sell over 1,000 copies plus. I think 1,000 is even an underestimate. He's been able to sell even more copies. What does that mean? It means that he's been able to make over 30 million plus in Ugandan shillings. He's an HR manager at Oryx, Zambia, but he's also an author. And because of that book that he has authored is the reason why we're even hosting him in Uganda. So his personal brand is even taking him to different places. Just like the same way I was speaking to Nigeria last time. So you can be able to see that your personal brand is one of the first things you should be investing if you want to create alternative sources of income. And you see, income that is built around your brand, okay? Income that is built around your brand is lifetime income. I'll tell you that my YouTube channel will stay here even for the next 100 years in case somebody doesn't hack it, or in case YouTube, because YouTube is not closing. Means that even when I get to retirement, because when we are speaking about side hustle, alternative sources of income, one of the things I want you to believe is that there is a day where you're going to not earn. Basically, there's a day where it's not going to be about job loss, but they're going to say, Samuel, you've hit 55 and we no longer have a job for you. Now, for quite a number of people, what they do is they wait for retirement to start businesses. And they want to start these businesses on their retirement benefits. They're already tired. Their mind is already exhausted. They're going to basically finish all their savings within just about 3 years because they're going to mess up. I have an uncle who got retirement benefits, was working for BAT. A lot of money, and somebody came and confused him and said you can import shoes in Uganda, and he sent money somewhere and the rest was history. Now he's a border driver. When you start your income right now, creating alternative sources of income, means that even the transition is easy. I know there are some of you whom I'm speaking to who do not even like your job, but because you do not have anything to do, you are in that job. Every day you wake up, you feel like it's not like you don't like the job. Either you have an issue with your boss, you're being maliced, you're being harassed, but because you don't have an option, you don't have any follow back. So creating an income is going to help you create a fallback for yourself, to know that I have something that I can do beyond that can be able to earn me an income. And that is why for me, I will do my job. I'll be very excellent at my job, but I'll never stop creating a side income. Leverage on the internet, like I said, do as much as you can. Today, as the TPC community, we are quite a number of people here, but what has brought us together is the internet. So it means that even you as well, you can be able to leverage on the internet and be able to grow yourself. You see, there's a saying that our parents, what we asked of them is, where were you when people were buying land in strategic places? What your children are going to ask you, who is listening to me, they're going to ask you, where were you when people were making strategic moves when it comes to utilizing their internet? Where were you? What were you doing? Because at the end of the day, the world has now changed. It has gotten digital. Everything is going on the phone. Everything is going on the internet. If you do not have any presence on the internet, either through your personal brand, you don't have a website, you don't have ABCD, what are you going to do with your life? It means that one of the things that I've also come to see, and I think I read it and they say that by 2030, likely 70% of the jobs are going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. And the 2030 is being talked about because that is just an estimate, because artificial intelligence is one thing that evolves after every minute. So it means that it is even likely that within the next 2 years, accountants will be replaced. I know some people will be like, no, accountants cannot be replaced. But believe me, what is your role? Your role is to do that analysis of finances, play in Excel. Now you can just give ChatGPT an Excel and it will give you results. It will give you financial reports. It will even give you notes to accounts. Things are changing. The world is changing. How are you leveraging? How are you jumping on the ship to know that, okay, if at all ChatGPT comes and takes my job, I have somewhere I can be able to go. I have something I can survive on. Quite a number of businesses are closing. I already shared with you an experience of how I lost my job. I nearly lost my job. I didn't lose my job, by the way. I nearly lost my job. I'm one of those people that are a bit lucky because even in the NGO, I left the NGO about 3 years back. Now I'm into the private sector. But somehow, by luck, I move out of the industry or a place before things get bad. But I'm not even safe otherwise. So it means that I have to keep and see, what can I do with my hands? Do I have some money? Now, I just want to comment on how you can start a business. I already mentioned that with low capital, a side business with low capital. I already gave you an option and I said, find a supplier of a product you think you can sell. It could be phones, and you find somebody who sells phones. And you're like, I'm going to get this person who sells phones, and I'm going to ask them what phones they have. I'm going to ask them to allow me to take pictures of those phones. I'm going to also see how much do they sell the phones, and I'm going to add a margin of 10%. So I'm going to brand myself. I'm even going to open up a page, which I'm going to call Link Phones Uganda. And I'm going to get a good graphics person to design for me flyers. Like the flyer I'm showing here was designed by one of my friends called Glenn. Glenn does flyers. So he's been able to do good branding, even for us as a community, the TPC community. And it doesn't charge a lot. You may make a flyer at 20,000, or even if it's at 30,000, but the flyer is going to sell you. Now, when you're doing those things of flyers, whatever page, you're creating authenticity. Now, customers buy for two things. They buy because they like you. They also buy because they trust you. Now, how you build trust, even if you are in your job there, where you are working full time and you don't have an office, how you build trust is even how you present your products. That's why you need to invest in a good, let's say maybe a good camera, either it was a phone or good flyers that depict that you're serious in your work. Okay, so do that. Find somebody who has a product that you think you can sell, even if they are shirts, even if they are dresses or bags. I'm just speaking about now clothes, but you can even find fruits. Somebody whom you know brings, let's say, rice, and you can be their marketeer, but you also create your own brand. And at the end of the day, be able to sell. There's a friend of mine who is part of the community. He sold to me shoes for my son. I bought those shoes at 100,000. When she showed me the shoes were of good quality, but I did not even ask much. I was able to support her because that. So there are also people who are going to support you. Utilize your status, your WhatsApp status. I know you keep sharing a lot of funny things and we enjoy them. Yes, thank you so much. But start sharing. One of that should be a product that you're selling. Find something you're selling. Some of you are in communities, WhatsApp communities, where they say, today is Market Friday and you don't have anything you sell as an individual. If you can't sell a product, sell your skill. One of the things that you are easy even to start with now, zero capital, is your skill. If you somebody said here, I'm a good at guitar, sell that guitar skill. Let somebody be able to buy from you because of that guitar. They invite you to teach their children. Find an offer that you can say, if you're a family, I can charge you this amount. If you're an individual, I can charge you this amount. There's a lot that you can do. There's a lot that you can do with your skills. There are quite a number of people here. George says he's an author. Philip says, my brother is writing a chemistry school and a new curriculum. You can see, I don't know what Philip you're doing. Okay. Stella Shilabo here says she's an author. Quite a number of you here are doing very good stuff when it comes. Somebody sells bags here. Makande Steven sells bags. Blessing is also here somehow. So there are quite a number of people that are doing quite a number of great stuff. One of the things that helps me in generating ideas is being seen. I have a friend of mine. She does wheat flour. She gets wheat flour from farmers, packs it, and sells it in offices. She comes to office and says, Samuel, do you have, can I replenish? And somehow, even with a small staff community, she's able to make money. So you can be able to do that. So there's a lot that you can be able to do with just being able to use your hands, your skills, your knowledge. What is the need in the society? What can I do? Watch and see and say, I can do that thing, and leverage your online to be able to create more business, because buyers are always there. Many people spending funds. You buy products online. Why do you think people can buy from you? They can buy from you. So you need to be able to create alternative sources of income, leverage online, leverage on your profession. What is that? Is your profession. Leverage on your skills, on your passion. What are you passionate about? I'm a passionate speaker. And you'll see me that even when people invite me for their sessions, they'll say, Samuel is very good at his thing. One time I got an opportunity to be invited. I know I've shared this with some people who have been part of my call, and I keep emphasizing it because it has opened doors for me. So one time, there's an organization I wanted to work for, and that is the NSSF in Uganda. And you can see that I got an opportunity to now work for NSSF through a side hustle. So this is me. I was invited by a lady called Joanne. Joanne is a connection, a LinkedIn connection. And I usually use this example because it's very plainly. And she says, you see what she says, they finally meet Coach Samuel Ivanda. That means that she supported me before she could meet me. So he said, I take bet on people based on what I see. As I crafted my program for that, I integrated an unusual topic. And as I looked around, I wasn't sure who would deliver it. From Samuel's posts and YouTube videos, I kind of thought he'll fit our Image Me style. We are only 28 minutes into the session, and I'm glad I took the bet. But you see, I'm an accountant. Even what I was teaching was not accounting, but I was on my passion. I was doing something I love. And you see what she did? From Samuel's posts and YouTube videos, I kind of thought he'll fit our style. So you see, Joanne had never met me in person. She made a decision on me from online. Okay? Recently, I also spoke to I got an opportunity to speak to certain people. I'll just show you also something that I've been able to also get online. And you see what I also do is I share my work online, because your next work is going to be seen by what you have done previously. So me putting this information online is actually intentional, that when you come and check my profile, you will somehow be convinced that this person, I can trust him. Here, I was a judge under the national championship by Stanbic. How did I get here? Social media and being intentional. You can see here, I was speaking on one of the televisions about job creation. How did I get here? Social media. I even had to ask for leave for me to go and do this kind of work. So you need to start to be intentional about your brand, because your brand is what is going to earn you money that you may not be able to get from your job. Even when your job is gone, you know that your brand is going to be able to help you survive. Okay? Help you survive. Okay? So I want to take some questions here that are coming. Somebody says, well done. In case you have any questions, I want to give you an opportunity to be able to ask. So Patricia Adong Chen, she says, hi everyone. Thank you, Maurice. My side hustle is selling peanut butter for those with kids in schools and those who want. Patricia, I would like to buy some peanut butter for my son. So make sure you send me some samples in my DM. I know we are connected on LinkedIn, and you're also part of the TPC members. So I would like to buy some peanut butter from you. Farida Nachinji says she sells Vaseline, liquid soap, shower gel, and train those that make products. Apart from that, I'm a leadership trainer. Wow, Farida, keep up with that. And yeah, I would like also to connect with you as well. I may not need it right now, but I know that maybe along the way, we can be able to. So you could say people have what they are doing, and I just want to make sure that support. I sell TOT bags to failed students here at Makere. By doing so, I can survive through the hard campus in ways. Wow. People are selling. What are you selling? Ask yourself. Get into that room and just reflect on yourself and say, what am I selling as an individual, as other people are selling? Okay. So somebody says, is business the only source of income? Business requires physical presence and management, especially startups. If one cannot do business, can other sources of income possibly through bonds and stocks? I know I cannot be. Now, I already spoke about passive incomes, and I say that it's not only business that you can be able to earn an income. You can also be able to earn income through bonds and stocks. Now, the income that comes from bonds and stocks, we all know it's interest, and it's, let's say, it's also dividends. We know the value of the money that comes from those places. The money is not a lot. So what it means that for you to be able to earn some money from there, you need to have a substantial amount of money. So what this means is that even as you think about this, let this be part of your income sources, but also think beyond and see, what else can I earn outside the bonds and this? Because let me give you an example. If you lost your job tomorrow, would income from bonds and stocks take care of you? Much likely not, because you're not going to sell the stocks. because much like you sell them at a low, it's more of recovery. Bonds also have a time frame on them, so you cannot. So it means that you cannot liquidify them. So it means that you still need to be able to find something else to sell that can, because one of the things that you should look at right now is what is my overall budget, expense budget? And you should aim to create an income that can give you an income that is equivalent to your expenses. That should be your target. And that is where the limitation of unit trust and so on. So when you have those, they are good to have. Everyone could have investments, but make sure that you now start thinking beyond and say, I'm good at singing. Can I do singing? I'm good at tailoring. Can I learn a skill? Can I learn baking? Can I start making cakes for people? Because when you lose that job, it is those small things that you're doing that are able to keep you afloat before you actually find the next job. Okay. So Fred does, he's an NGO. Okay, he said okay. Although for functional consultant as a side hustle, although is I think a software, this is actually got me jobs beyond borders. I utilized this skill when I lost my job in Zambia during COVID. Thank you, Fred, for sharing that. There are quite a number of people that are sharing here. So just keep sharing your side hustles. You do not know who is here. Somebody says, I have a question, coach. How can one sell a service easily, say tax preparation? I want to give you this tip and say that for you to be able to sell your service easily, content. So people buy when they see you do something. So, like, for example, I have a YouTube channel, which I do accounting. Now, I have quite a number of people that reach out to me from that YouTube channel to say, Samuel, how can I sell? How can I join your classes? So you also who does tax preparation, great for us videos. They could be on TikTok, they could be on YouTube. Also come on LinkedIn and teach us about tax preparation. Such that when now I start seeing what you're doing, I'm now able to know. I didn't know honestly that my friend Patricia sells peanut butter, but now I know, and now I can buy from her. So you need to be able to now think about yourself from that perspective and say, this tax preparation, how can people know about me? Because even your friends, because usually it is friends that recommend us. So think about yourself and say, do my friends even know what I do? I'm very intentional about speaking what I do because I know that there are quite a number of people that may not even buy from me now, but they can open for me an opportunity tomorrow. So it means that you need to start doing that. We need to see it. So make sure that you're leveraging on content. Show up every day. Myself, I post twice every day. And that is why people reach out and say, Samuel, I want you to help me with my CV. Samuel, I have an interview coming up. Can you mentor me? Samuel, I have this training. Can you do it? Because I have showed people that I know. So the same thing for you as well, that can really help you. Rita says, how do I create my perfect brand? How do I leverage on the internet as a water specialist? Now, as a water specialist, your question should always be, who may need this service? You could be working with a national body, but ask yourself, is there anyone else who could need this service that I do? And see how to now position yourself into that. When I'm on LinkedIn, I'm even very intentional on whom I connect to. I usually tell people that on LinkedIn, I connect with job seekers or people who are looking for jobs, who are just fresh graduates, because that is what I do. I do mentorship. I help people in their careers. So I need to connect with that. That is my audience. So you as well, if you're, let's say, water specialist, you now need to look for people in that area and connect with them, because those are the people that are going to open for you opportunities. Alternatively, you could say that, okay, maybe this water specialist thing is so maybe general that people may not know about it, and say, I'm going to now position myself from a plumbing perspective. So you're going to find other things that are around the water specialist and say, I'm going to now take this kind of direction. That could also be an area. But I also say that do not limit yourself to only, let's say, water. You know you are good at baking and catering, or this is your dream, this is your passion. as you have this so-called water, once in a while, share with us and say, guys, it's a weekend. I'm here in my store. I'm doing some cakes. I didn't know that I had passion for this. Somehow, there's what we call, in content, there's what we call indirect marketing. I don't know if any one of you has seen me post and say I make CVs for people, or I help people with interviews, or I speak at events. You will not find that. But what will I do? I'll post about an event where I spoke. I'll post about maybe I'll say strategies on your CV. So I'll post about things that are indirect. Now, what that is helping me, it's nurturing my audience. My audience now gets to know that, oh, Samuel can do it. I already showed you something that Joanne posted and said, from Samuel's posts and YouTube videos, I thought he would fit. Now, Joanne invited me to teach about technology to people who are retiring, what kind of technology tools they may be interested in, and so on. But believe me not, I was not even teaching accounting or teaching whatever. So even when it comes to whatever you're doing, do not hide yourself. Do not do things in kind of hiding yourself. Leverage on these tools on your status. Once in a while, keep on sharing. You know, when I see some shoes every time on my status, when I need shoes, it is much like that I'm going to think about that person who last shared shoes on their status. And I would go and scroll them and look for them. When you send me a message on my LinkedIn, I'll save your contact. And when you save my contact, means that you're going to see whatever I post. Right now, when I post, I share my status, I have over hundreds of people who are seeing my status. That's a clientele. People are buying from me. When I have something I'm selling, somebody will click on it and come to my DM and say, Samuel, how can I pay for this? How much? How much? How much? Just imagine you've gotten that text where people are now asking you, how much? How much? That is how you start. And you see, some of these things, you do them in your early mornings. I make my content very early in the morning. By 7:30, you'll see my post. But because I've started on it at 6, I'm trying to create that content. Or either I've secured the weekend to be able to put up that content. So you too as well, you need to be able to create time and see, how can I be able to create time for my side hustle? Because at the end of the day, you need it. It's very good to be loyal at your job. Give it time as much as you can, but create time for your side hustle. Make sure that you're not ignoring creating that, because that is what is going to take care of you. When that job is gone, because it's not going to be forever, that is your rescue. That is what your children will be able to feed in on. You will not be begging. The last thing you should do is to beg. When you have your side hustle, means that even when you start your construction project, it will not toil, because you'll be getting some 50,000, 100,000, and buy bricks, buy here, because you're getting there. That is what I can share with you, my friend. I know that you could be in a situation where you feel you cannot do much with yourself, but I want to tell you that whatever you can do is within your hands. The Bible says that what is in your hand, Moses was being asked with Musa for the Muslims, what do you have in your hand? This evening, I challenge you, what do you have in your hand? Are you good at public speaking? Are you good at emceeing like my friend Remigio? Are you good at, let's say, etiquette work like my friend Catherine Nabudua? What can you do with your work? And from there, you can be able to, no, you can be able to leverage yourself and become something that is going to be better. So I know we are at the top of the hour, so I just want to mention that if you want to be part of the TPC community, we usually have such conversations. We have an upcoming physical masterclass, which is about still beyond your paycheck, where we're going to get deep into the details of how you can be able to create an income. We are going to be able to have this masterclass. It's going to be in Kampala. We are going to have this masterclass. The planned date is 8th. Okay, I just want to confirm. 8th March. It will be a Saturday. Here we're going to get in depth. I'm going to get a bit practical, because in there you'll be able to ask me questions. I'll be able to help you even more. I'll be able to get to different social media platforms, and I'll be able to tell you how you can make money from TikTok. Recently, I made some good money from TikTok. I'll be able to teach you how you can make money from Facebook, how you can leverage on LinkedIn to be able to make money. So if you want to attend, you can be able to send me a message on my WhatsApp. WhatsApp is what is there. Just say, I want to attend the masterclass, and I'll be able to share with you the details where I'll be able to get in depth some of these things. Of course, for my for the TPC, if you want to join the TPC, which is the Transformation Professionals Club, where we have such conversations, I already mentioned that we have one of the gentlemen who is coming from Zambia. He's coming next week. He's going to talk to us virtually. So make sure that you plan to join in online. In case you're joining this call, wherever you're joining in, I just want to share with you our registration sheet where you can be able to register, but you can also just find me on LinkedIn or go anywhere on, you go to Google and Google Coach Samuel Ibanda. You'll be able to find most of my links to my platforms, okay? And we are able to help each other. Otherwise, I'm so much glad to have each one of you. To my TPC members who are part of the call, I appreciate everyone of you here. And thank you so much for creating time. Let's connect and let's see how we can help. I'm going to have more conversation around this, so make sure that you're part of the TPC community, and we're going to be able to help each other. I'm going to post something on LinkedIn. So if you follow this session, I just want you to share what are your takeaways from the session, and let's see how we can be able to help each other. Otherwise, thank you so much, and God bless you. Bye-bye.